Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira from Munira's Musings, the niche navigator, coming to you live with another guest, another story of how they found their niche. Welcome to Dawn Marcotte. She's all the way in the Midwest, so that's a good thing. A very close neighbor, about 6 hours away in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. Welcome to our show, Dawn.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is great.
You are welcome. So, as all of you know, and if you are new to this show, we'd like for you to learn a little bit. This show is for you. We are here to present the fact that, you know what, everybody has had a journey and everybody's still looking for their why, their purpose, their niche. And as the niche navigator, we bring people with niches out to this show so that they can tell you their stories of their journeys. And maybe you can get some inspiration, because I know that you are sitting with an idea and you need to get up and run with it. So without further ado, if you like this, please go ahead, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. But let's go to Dawn. Dawn, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Well, I am a mom. I am also a freelance writer and entrepreneur. I have actually been a freelance writer as a side gig for 10 plus years. But then, as many of us experienced in 2020, I lost my full-time job and decided, well, I've been doing this thing on the side. What can I do full-time to try and make ends meet, right? And I did what I'm sure a lot of other entrepreneurs have done when they kind of jump in, is I looked at my skills and I said, okay, what can I do online? What do I know how to do? And I'm like, okay, well, I know how to do social media marketing. Let's try that. So I did that for a month, discovered it's a lot of fun when I'm doing it for my own business, not so much when I'm doing it for other people. So I, stopped. And then I thought, well, I could be a VA because I've been an administrative assistant in the corporate world. And that didn't work out, right? So I went through all these different things before I finally realized that the thing I've been doing on the side, the writing, really is my first love and really is what I'm good at and what I can do to build a business and make an income. So I went back to that and have been freelance writing. I actually write books is what I do. So I have written in November last year, I should say, I did a book on how to create a Facebook group and build it and use it to get clients, because that's what I was seeing a lot of online. People were talking about that everywhere, and everybody had a little bit different take on it. So that's where my skill set lies, is in taking information from a lot of different sources, a lot of different people, consolidating it into one place, making sense of it, making it into a process that you can follow step by step. And then I put it in a book and I sell it. And that's how I make my money, is from my books. And I also have a website where I share a lot of this kind of information. So I am very focused on the new entrepreneurs and, just like you, helping them figure out their niche. Because that's the one thing that I see a lot of people overlooking when they jump online. They go right from, I'm really good at this, so I'm going to start doing it online. And they don't think about, well, how does what I enjoy doing or what I'm good at, how does that intersect with what people are willing to give me money for? And that is so fundamental to a successful business, figuring out that sweet spot.
And so, you touched that very awesome point, because you say most people want to start a business. They want to jump into being an entrepreneur, but they don't look for their niche. Were you one of those people? Because you had skills that you had accumulated over the years through your job, right?
Right, exactly, right. Yep, and that was me exactly, because I knew I wanted to work with women, but that's too broad. I mean, you can't market to just women. And so then I thought about, okay, well, what kind of women, and really narrowed it down to, what's their education, what's their financial, what are they trying to do? So I just, as I went along, kept adding more and more refinement until I finally got to where I am now, which is I work with service providers specifically that are women who are less than 3 years in business. So by niching it down and making it more and more and more specific, I've been able to get my marketing more and more specific and therefore more effective. Because when I send something out on Facebook, I want to make sure that it is speaking directly to my ideal client, that it is for them, that that's who it's going to attract. It doesn't need to attract somebody who's been in business for 7 years, because I'm not going to be able to help them. They've already pretty much figured it out. They already have the foundation laid. I need to speak to the people who don't understand that being consistent and showing up for 15 minutes every day on social media is going to build your reach over time. To them, marketing is more of a, I'll get to it when I get to it kind of thing. And that doesn't build a business very fast. But when you're new, you don't know that. And there's so much to learn and it's so overwhelming. And so niching down is just important to reduce that overwhelm. So when you're only focusing on this little area instead of this giant thing that you're trying to do. And it just makes the whole process so much easier.
You bring a very good point, because that's what I teach. Is like, let's niche down, right? I feel that people have accumulated so many skills. I was one of those people. I've worked in school systems. I've worked in retail. I've worked, in the kitchen, and being a mom, and being, a person who was helping my husband build his business. And then all of a sudden I realized that, okay, now I am in pharma world. And then from there, you go to school, you collect all of the instruments and tools all over from everywhere. And because you think this one appeals to me and this one appeals to me, and you start working at it. And all of a sudden, then you have this arsenal of tools and you don't know what to do with them and how to make it work. So I love the fact that you went into, so going back to what you said, you go back into groups and you hear people talking about, and you have this skill where everybody gives advice and there's supposed to be a lot of noise there. Not real noise, but you know what I'm talking about. Sure. But you start taking that and you define it to create a book. How does that come about? I mean, how do you process through the noise?
Well, so one of the things that is so important is to build a circle of influence, a group of people that you can go back to over and over again, that are honest with you and share information with you. Now, in my case, that's a Facebook group. I made a Facebook group and that works well for me. But it could be your LinkedIn connections. It could be your Instagram connections. It could be whatever social media that you're on. They all have a different platform to build that circle of influence. But what I do is I ask very specific questions. For my Facebook book that I did last year, I've started it by going out and asking, what are your top 2 questions about building a Facebook group? And that's a process that I recommend for anybody who wants to do market research, is that phrase. What are your top 2 questions about? And then you fill in the blank with whatever it is that you're trying to figure out. And people will share. People love to share their opinions and they love to help other people. So when they know that you are looking for information to build something, to do something, many people are very happy to share with that. Now, when I do that process, the one thing that I recommend is using something like Google Forms, because it's free, first of all, and you put the link out and then you can put it across 10 different Facebook groups, we'll just say, for example, and then you don't have to remember, okay, where did I put that question? Which group was I, right? all the answers go back to that one location. So that just makes it a little bit easier to gather all of that information. But once you've done that, then you can look through it and kind of refine things. So for example, the book that I'm writing now, which is about the 9 lies online entrepreneurs need to know, in order to figure out which 9 lies I needed to address, I talked about it on Facebook. What do you struggle with? What are the things you found most difficult? And I just kept asking questions over and over and over again in all these different Facebook groups, and people responded. So I was able to take that information and gather it together and figure out, okay, these are the things people are really struggling with. This is what I need to write about. This is what I need to get more information about.
So then, I'm going to ask you this question, because now you have had a past life in corporate world, and now you're coming in as an expert.
Mm-hmm.
People would say, what makes you an expert?
Well, so in the corporate world, the thing that I learned that I have brought so much into entrepreneur is the processes, things that are repeatable and reliable, learning that you need to have a process for everything, really. So this process that I've used, I can use it for any book, any subject, any topic. It doesn't matter. I can go through the same process, and at the end, I'm going to have a book. Figuring out what those processes are to keep you consistent and authentic is huge in an online business, because you are wearing all of the hats, and you need to know how to create a process that gets things done. So automation is a huge thing, because you can't take your time every day to email everyone that joins your group. When you start getting 20, 30 people a day, it takes too much time, right? You need to automate those things. So my experience from the corporate world in those consistent processes and being able to look at a process and making it better and tweaking it, and maybe it's somebody else's process. This is something I teach a lot, is that when you buy those processes as a new entrepreneur, everybody's always trying to sell you something, right? Here's my thing, it's going to help you. Well, it might not help you because you're a different person, a different personality, you have a different business, whatever reason. But that doesn't mean you can't take that process and change it and tweak it so that it does work for you. And so many entrepreneurs that are new think they're going to buy and it's going to work straight out of the box for them. And that's frequently not true. That's one of the lies I talk about in my book, that process is going to work for everyone, because it doesn't work for everyone. I'm an introvert. There are lots of processes out there that require you to reach out, every day to 20 people. That makes me really uncomfortable. That's not a process I can sustain for very long, because that's not who I am. You have to be true to who you are, your values, your personality, your skills, and build on that.
So there's so many things that you said, right? You said, I should have written notes, but one of the things you said was, you bring processes, you fix it, and people think, if I buy this, because then you have a $27 this thing and a $29 this thing. So how does a new entrepreneur figure out this is the right tool for me, and then I can tweak it, because some of them are not able to be tweaked?
Right. So as a new entrepreneur, it's important to understand what specific thing do you need help with. I'm going to say Instagram marketing, because I have no idea what I'm doing on Instagram. I'm there, but I don't know what hashtags, any of that, none of that. I have no idea. But I have found a couple of people who are telling me that they can help me and they know how to do this. So I recommend, if you find someone like that, do some research on them. Who are they? What have they done? Maybe they have a Facebook group that you can join, that they do free trainings and things like that. So you can really get a feel for who they are and how they work and where they are in their journey. Another example is I'm in a Facebook group that has like 18,000 people in it. And the lady that runs it is hugely successful. And she has a program that she sells. I'm not going to buy it, because she is an extrovert and she has been in business for a while, and that she's not the same person that I am. And the free things that I've taken from her have made me realize I'm not comfortable with what she teaches. It just doesn't fit my personality. And it's not something I can tweak. I am never going to be an extrovert. So if you can, kind of scope them out, stalk them a little bit, if you would, on Facebook or Instagram, wherever, really get a feel for who they are and how they teach. And then you can figure out, well, maybe this is right for me. And ask, is there a refund policy? If I buy this and it doesn't work, will you give me my money back? There's not always a clear policy. So that's a good question to ask. That way, you know, up front, I'm going to spend these $30, $50, $500, whatever it is. And as long as you're comfortable with knowing whether or not you're going to get your money back, that's helpful.
You said, have your own values, understand the people that you're following, but you have to got to know yourself, right? So
Yes.
What are 2 steps that you take to figure out yourself?
Wow, that's a tough one. For me, I have, over the many years in the corporate world, done a lot of different personality type tests, the Myers-Briggs and the DISC and the colors and all of that kind of stuff. So if you're really struggling and you really don't know, you can find those online tests online, I should say. I would recommend doing 1 or 2 just to kind of get a better feel for who you are and the way you do things. You can ask other people in your life, hey, I'm trying to figure out what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, and just let them know that you're trying to figure this out to help you move forward in your business. And most people are very kind and they will be happy to help you kind of figure out what they think you're good at, because what you think you're good at and what they think you're good at could be entirely different. Now, I was lucky because I did that process with people that I'd worked with, and being in the corporate world for a long time and working at big companies, I had 50 or 60 people that I could send that questionnaire to. And get reliable responses. But if maybe it's just your friends, or you have a hobby and you know people that way, or online, you're in Facebook or Instagram, whatever, just maybe ask people, what have you seen me do well? And that can point you in a direction.
So you said so many things that you're throwing out, all these nuggets, right? So you mentioned, that, okay, ask people to figure out who you are. You said you put together books together. So where can we find your books?
Oh, well, they're on Amazon, actually. I actually have, my 2 best books. The first book I ever wrote is called The App Age, and it's for parents who have grade school age kids. And I was very passionate when my kids were little about not being in front of a television or a computer for more than half hour a day. So I wrote that book. And there are several other books that are okay-ish that are out there, but also geared toward parenting. And then the Facebook group, How to Build a Facebook Group and Get Clients, is also available on Amazon. And then my next book, I'm hoping to publish in June of this year. And again, it'll be on Amazon as both an ebook and a paper book that you can read.
What's one question that I should have asked, which I haven't?
Oh, I don't know. I think you asked everything. I think that's great. I don't know where to find me, I guess. I have, like I said, I'm on Facebook.
That's going to come next, but okay.
That's what I figured. That's coming next. I don't need to, yeah. Yeah, no, I think we covered it.
So where can people find you?
I have a Facebook group, Women Coaches and Consultants Growing Our Business. I also have a website, which is D as in David, M as in Mary, -consultingllc.com. And there's free information there, as well as, if you're interested, there is a paid membership portion to the website as well, where I do a lot of training and things like that.
Awesome. There you go, folks. here you are talking to a kindergarten teacher for businesspreneurs, because everybody now thinks, working for a job is okay, but we have to have a side gig, because we've seen what, COVID has done. You can bring the world to a standstill, but your own side gig can help you pivot in a different direction. To figure that out, you need to know who you are, what you want to do, and how you want to do it. And we can help you navigate through that rough waters, because it's a journey on self-discovery. And it's amazing when we tell you, come work with a coach. You don't have to work with me. You can work with Dawn or find somebody that resonates with you. Like she said, not all coaches will resonate with you, but you got to figure out exactly what this person is telling. And like she said, stalk them. I'm not saying stalk them in a bad way, but see if the message resonates, because sometimes you can hear something, it looks good, it feels good, but it doesn't take you to where you want to go, right? It's like you either get a dhow, you get a dinghy, you get a yacht, or you get a cruise ship. Either way, they're going to take you where you want to go. However, who is going to take you and navigate you best? Sometimes that little boat can help you the best, right? Because that's the pilot boat. But either way, just go ahead and take what you got, because you know what? You have it inside of you. You know what you want to do. You have this yearning that needs to come out. The only problem is that you haven't taken the first step, and it's fear holding you back, or you keep thinking that you're not clear. You know what? It's never going to be clear, because every time you take a step forward, you're still going to have that fear. So take the step forward and just step into the unknown and see if this entrepreneurship is for you. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but if you have that bug that's biting you, take the first step, right? Dawn, where can we find you? We talked about that. So
Yes, we did.
You can put your website at the bottom. We know where to find that, because you said something LLC and I kind of forgot. So I'm sure the listeners would have to go back, but you know what? Just let's go find that. And then if you can put, please, the name of your book and the link to it, so people who want to go figure this out. Because you know what? Facebook groups also make it makes your group unique, right? So if you want to go grow your group, go ahead and join, figure out, get a book and see, because books have information and information helps people.
Yep.
Thank you. So if you like this, please go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. And thank you, Dawn, for so many nuggets this morning.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
We will talk soon. Have a good week, and we will be back on Monday with another guest, another story, another visionary who is going to tell us how they found their niche. Thank you, and have a good week. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.